Hi, Evan.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for helping my project.
Yep.
Could you say a couple words about yourself?
My name's Evan Macaluso. I am the owner-operator of Sailtime Houston. We're a fractional yachting company in Kemah, Texas. We offer sailing lessons and fractional membership to sailboats in the Texas market.
That's awesome. And I'm taking one of your classes now.
You are.
Staying on one of your boats.
There you go. Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
What got you into it?
Wow, that's a longer story than we have time for.
Oh, okay.
But I guess suffice to say that I was born in a sailing family. I learned to walk on the docks of the sailing club. I've been sailing my whole life. I actually studied wildlife management in college, thinking I was going to be a park ranger. Ended up being a banker. Hated every day of corporate America, and got out of that as quickly as I could. And now I'm doing this for a living. So, but there's a whole lot of extraneous stuff that happened in between.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, did you know that NASA's planning to send astronauts back to the moon?
Yes, as a matter of fact, funny you should, the topic of the conversation, Jeremy Hansen, who is the Canadian astronaut that's part of that team, was our very first member at Sailtime.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
our very first member.
When you first
When I
became
first
part
started
of
the company. Yeah, when I first started the company. Back then it was a independent company. I hadn't franchised out yet. And so we were called Sail Ventures USA back then. And Jeremy and his family were our very first members.
That's amazing. And now he's Artemis 2 going to be the first person to go around the moon since 1972.
That's right.
First Canadian ever to do that far.
Yeah, he's stoked. I mean, he and his family are really proud, as they should be.
Does he a boat out here often? Or?
Not anymore. So he's got he's got a family with kiddos, and so kiddos' activities started to get in the way. And as things got closer to him being selected for a mission, all of his spare time got kind of ramped up with the things that they had him doing. So he had less free time for sailing. So sadly, he's no longer with us, but as a member. But we'll get him back when he's done with his mission.
Excellent. He might win some peace and glory after all the publicity and stuff.
Yeah, I bet so.
What do you think about us going back to the moon?
I think it's a great thing. I think space exploration is it's the last frontier, right? It's the great unknown for us still. The moon was a stepping stone to that, and if you look back at all of think about the technology that we have that people our age grew up with, like the microwave ovens and Tang, for instance. I mean, just think of these little things that we take for granted on a daily basis that were born out of necessity of the space program so that we could figure out how we could keep people alive in space. We take for granted on a daily basis those things that we get to use now. But if it wasn't for an active space program, some of those technologies and some of those things wouldn't exist. And so I think that there's a benefit there that we're developing new technologies born out of necessity through the space program. I think it gives us, it is a hope mechanism for society to say, what else is out there? Maybe we're not alone. Maybe there's more to this than just this. And so I think if viewed through the right lens, that brings a modicum of hope when we see so much bad publicity in the world right now about global warming and about all of the things that are going, like war and things that are going on in our planet here. Having an idea that there might be something more for us out there later maybe that brings hope to somebody. So that's a good thing as well.
When you think about the future, like if you were to think 200 years out in the future, you think we're still only on the Earth, or you think at that point we have people living their lives?
That's a hard one. I mean, I think that we probably have some small. I imagine mission to Mars isn't too far off. You can't imagine the neat thing about technology is technology shortens its own event horizon. So the more technology advances, the more those event horizons shrink. And so, whereas it may have taken us 100 or 200 years to put the first person on Mars, to put the second person on Mars is not going to take another 200 years. And so those things kind of get closer and closer together. So where will we be 200 years from now? There's really no way of knowing, because by then we have technologies that we haven't even begun to think about at this point. So sky's the limit, literally.
But if you were here in 200 years, you'd probably be disappointed if we weren't other places.
I would have to say so. I think we'd have become complacent, and so part of the adventurous spirit. I mean, part of what makes me attracted to sailing is the idea that on any given day I could just take a left and sail off into the wild blue yonder. Right? Okay, that's one of the beauties of sailing. So, I think that's part of human nature. Our explorer gene is just inherent in us. I think the good Lord built us that way. to go out and look at all of his creation. And so to say that we would be happy with just this one little space, I think would be kind of it would be disappointing. That would be the right word, disappointing.
If you could, would you take a trip to space?
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat. Yeah, I mean, I'd be the first person to sign up. You ask anybody I know or that knows me. I'm adventurous. That's the other thing I love about sailing is, people ask me, what do you feel about sailing across an ocean or sailing across the Gulf of Mexico or sailing across a big body of water? Isn't that scary? I said, no, I mean, that's an adventure. And so I look at space as just another big body of water. If I had the right airplane or the right spacecraft or sail, whatever, boat or whatever it was that we were using, whatever the technology was that would get me there, then I would go on that adventure in a heartbeat.
Do you think you'll get an opportunity in your lifetime?
I don't think that it will happen that quickly for the general public. I think that it'll be more for a key few in my lifetime. I'll be lucky to have another 40 years on this rock, I just hope that it is something that, my youngest son graduates from United States Air Force boot camp on next weekend. And so I think his generation will start seeing more of that being more the norm. And his kids' it should be a lot more commonplace at that point. So
that's awesome. Well, Evan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Oops. Oh, I wonder what that did.